name's Jayme. I run the Integrated Combative Arts Academy here in Columbus, Ohio. Our programs are mainly influenced by Jeet Kune Do and Filipino martial arts. Well, I was born in North Jersey and I spent my early childhood there. When I was about 7, my father found another job opportunity here in Columbus, Ohio. So the whole family moved over and I've been here ever since. But as I grew up, in high school is when I got involved with Filipino martial arts, and then in college, I learned to really embrace our Filipino culture and heritage, and I wanted to get back to my roots. I thought, okay, I was just trying to come up with something that was appropriate for what I wanted to offer, and I wanted something a little bit different. I wanted to focus on the martial arts and being able to link different techniques from different fighting styles together. And I just wanted to use a term a little bit different than martial arts, so I went with the combative arts and academy tacked on the end, because we're an institution of learning. So that's how I came up with the name, and that's what we're about. All our programs are heavily influenced by the Jeet Kune Do approach of learning what you can, throwing away what doesn't work for you, keeping what does work for you, and then adding your own flavor and spice to the mix, and that is your martial arts. So that's what we're about. But I was a very passive kid anyway, very shy. I just kept to myself and focused on what I was doing. My parents always wanted me to get involved with sports and team sports in school. I never really wanted to. I was more of a video game, guitar kind of guy, and they also put out karate or taekwondo classes. I'm like, yeah, those are great, and for whatever reason those particular classes didn't appeal to me. I was a big martial arts fan. I'd watched Bruce Lee movies growing up, kung fu theater. I guess the best way to explain it is I was looking for something more unique, and I didn't know what that was. I just knew I didn't want to do traditional martial arts. So I guess my martial arts journey began when I was in high school. I believe I was a sophomore, and there was a friend of mine, and he had been taking martial arts since he was a young kid, and he had given me a flyer at school. He's like, hey, I just started training at this gym a few months ago. Come check it out. So I'm looking at the flyer. There's a picture of Bruce Lee on there, and there are 4 separate sections, explaining what the what programs they offer. So there was boxing, Muay Thai, and the next section was Jiu-Jitsu, grappling. The next section was Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, and then the final section said Filipino Kali, Arnis, and Eskrima, and that really surprised me and captured my attention because I had never actually seen that before. Never really had much exposure or heard much of any kind of martial culture in the Filipino culture. And it also caught me by surprise just because, so there's a martial arts school here in Columbus that teaches Filipino martial arts. I ended up going to the school, observing a class, and fell in love with it, at first sight. It was very non-traditional. Everyone was wearing gym clothes, t-shirts, shorts. They were doing, boxing, kickboxing, and then it was the first time I saw full contact stick fighting. And when I was a kid, the only exposure I had to any kind of Filipino martial arts was a modern Arnis book that my dad had by the late Grandmaster Remy Presas. But as a kid, I didn't really understand. I'd flip through the pages, try to mimic what was being done in the pages, but lost interest quickly. But what I had experienced and what I had observed at that gym was different flows, techniques, and I didn't know you could move a stick like that. So that was the beginning of my martial arts journey. Right? Oh, okay. So you survived that. Okay. What can I do from here? Okay. Well, the first 20 years of my martial arts journey, it was a branch off of the affiliate of the IMB Academy, which was run by Richard Bustillo, and we were a affiliate school, the Columbus representative. And so our programs were heavily influenced by Jeet Kune Do. So we kind of branched out and covered a lot of different combat ranges. So there was the long range with the with the sticks, and and again with the Filipino martial arts, very diversified art in itself. Covering all the combat ranges. But then there was the Muay Thai, the boxing. There was a bit of of Aikido that we did, Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, grappling. So it was a little bit of everything. That was really a neat way to learn martial arts, as it kept me engaged during my time there and kept me driven to learn more, and there was always more to learn. seeing Richard Bustillo, him in the IMB Academy, it was very unique. It was, essentially his own JKD. Him being one of Bruce Lee's original students, he was able to take that JKD path, and that's what essentially became the IMB Academy and its program. So he had a very bare-boned approach to learning. He wanted to ensure that we had a solid foundational set of fundamentals and made sure that we did those well. He also was very big on fitness, and whenever we invited him here in town for a seminar, or if we went to IMB headquarters in Los Angeles, the warm-ups were always very much conditioning. That being said, he believed in having a decent level of fitness just so you can effectively and efficiently deliver the techniques that were learned. The drop stick, okay. Again, there's traditional martial arts such as karate and taekwondo that have been around a long time, part of mainstream martial arts, mainstream America. And I think the biggest challenge is trying to open up the general audience to something other than what's in mainstream martial arts and what's been in mainstream martial arts for a long time. And typically it's from my own personal observations over the years is that someone will see some type of fighting technique on the movie screen, and they'll automatically attribute that to like, oh, that's karate or that's taekwondo. And not a bad thing, because it's like, okay, they do recognize that it is a unique fighting style, but at the same time it's not being given the proper credit. So I think the biggest challenge is really being able to explain what the Filipino martial arts are all about, how it differs, and maybe pointing out some of the similarities or the parallels between the Filipino martial arts and what's in mainstream martial arts. I think what Filipino martial arts has to offer, because it being a very diversified and versatile art in itself, it's just a matter of opening everyone's eyes to what FMA has to offer, all the different fighting ranges. It's actually humbled me, and it's opened me up to other martial arts. There was a period of time where Jeet Kune Do allowed me to discover martial arts that I wasn't familiar with when I was younger, and I got to experience, and like I said, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu. As I continued growing and developing and evolving in my martial arts journey, I've learned to appreciate what else is out there. I've especially learned to appreciate parallels that some of these martial arts systems have with Filipino martial arts. That being said, there's always something new to learn and appreciate. Down here, and it has to travel all this way to just check this, okay? And I can speak for here in America and the general audience here, that most folks, they grow up watching, TV or the movies, and they see your traditional martial arts, and they don't take the time to really look into what is that about, or is that karate that I'm seeing. The label is placed on whatever they've seen, and further research is done necessarily, unless of course you're a martial arts practitioner and you're really putting in the time and effort to study martial arts and the different martial arts. But to the general audience, it's like whatever's in their face at the moment, and that's what sticks with them. So I think as far as the appeal of Filipino martial arts to everyone else, it goes back to sharing that with them, what the differences are between and the similarities between Filipino martial arts and other mainstream martial arts. So explaining to them, here's one of the primary training tools, the stick. However, it can be translated to this, and this. You can use improvised weapons. Filipino martial arts can cover long range, medium range, close range, and this is how. These are the benefits of the Filipino martial arts on physical level, emotional level, spiritual level, even social level. I met a lot of folks through Filipino martial arts, just because we share that same passion. I attribute a lot of these folks that I now call family to Filipino martial arts training. So I think that's one way that we could reach out to others and show them what FMA can offer. I did a little bit of everything. When I got into competition, and I did everything from Muay Thai to the full contact stick fighting, some Jiu-Jitsu, and then I did MMA for about 5 years. And really during the 5 years I was doing MMA, it was almost like I put the Jeet Kune Do and the FMA on a back burner, and I really wanted to focus on the MMA. When the time came where I made a decision to retire from fighting, I wanted to get back to my roots, wanted to get back to the Jeet Kune Do, to the Filipino martial arts. And I missed having a mentor because, you know, Sigo and Richard was in California. We'd only invite him here. We'd only see him a couple times a year. But my former instructor, he had another calling in life, and so he went to pursue that. So there was a period of time where I no longer had a mentor. So, you know, I kind of, you know, depended on myself and whatever resources were available, you know, books, online, whatnot, to continue my learning. You know, one day there was a fellow FMA practitioner, and you know, I saw he had posted something on social media, and they had attended a FCS intensive Kali camp back in 2013. And you know, I saw his post, and I'm like, wow, you know, like I would love to get into that. So I reached out to him and I said, you know, hey, you know, how do I get involved with that? Can I do that next year? And he said, oh yeah, you know, that's how it began. I got a hold of, you know, training material. And you know, I attended a camp, and I was sold. You know, it was you know, their approach and the level of camaraderie with the FCS tribe. It was such a good fit, and this is our 6th year being affiliated with the FCS tribe, and it's an honor and privilege, you know, to be representing them here in Columbus. Yeah, so we have a website, www.icaacademy.com. We're also on Facebook. We also have an Instagram page. Again, it's Integrated Combative Arts Academy, or ICAAcademy.com.